You open your email for a quick check and immediately feel a small jolt in your chest. There are 17 unread emails. Nothing terrible has happened, no emergency, no crisis, but something inside your brain refuses to relax until that number becomes zero. So you start clearing them. Delete, archive, reply, refresh. For a moment, when the inbox is finally empty, you feel strangely calm, almost satisfied. And then 5 minutes later, three more emails arrive. If this cycle feels familiar, you're not alone. For some people, an unread email isn't just a message, it feels like unfinished business sitting inside their mind. And there's a psychological reason for that. Your brain treats unread messages like open loops. An open loop is anything unfinished that your brain keeps reminding you about. A task you haven't completed, a conversation you didn't finish, a problem still waiting for an answer. Every unread email quietly signals the same thing. Something still needs your attention. Your brain doesn't know whether the message is important or trivial. It only knows that the loop is still open. And open loops create mental tension. So every time you see that little red notification badge, your brain feels a tiny pressure to close the loop. Not because the message matters, but because the uncertainty itself is uncomfortable. This is why notification badges are designed the way they are. Bright red, small numbers, impossible to ignore. They trigger the same kind of neurological alert system as a physical alarm. Your brain sees the red signal and instantly thinks something is unfinished, something needs action, which means even a harmless email can quietly sit in the background of your mind, draining attention. But there's another reason people feel relief when their inbox is empty. An empty inbox gives you the illusion of control. When you reach inbox zero, it feels like you've cleaned your workspace, like you've handled everything life threw at you. Your brain releases a small burst of dopamine, the same chemical associated with completing tasks. But here's the catch. Clearing your inbox often feels productive without actually being productive. Psychologists call this a displacement activity. It's when the brain focuses on small, manageable tasks to avoid larger, more complex ones. Replying to emails is easier than writing a report. Archiving messages is easier than solving a difficult problem, so the brain naturally gravitates toward inbox clearing because it gives you quick wins. You feel busy, you feel responsible, you feel like you're working. But the real work, the deeper, more demanding tasks, still sits untouched. And there's another layer to the anxiety that most people don't notice. Every unread email represents another person waiting for something from you. A request, a question, an expectation. Your inbox slowly becomes a dashboard of other people's agendas. And when those messages pile up, your brain interprets them as potential social pressure. Someone might think you're ignoring them. Someone might expect a quick response. Someone might be waiting for a decision. Even if none of that is actually happening, the uncertainty alone can create a subtle sense of tension. So the brain tries to eliminate that tension by clearing the inbox as quickly as possible. But in modern life, this strategy no longer works. Digital communication has reached a speed where messages arrive faster than they can realistically be processed. Emails, notifications, group chats, work platforms, the stream never really stops, which means inbox zero has quietly turned into something else, a treadmill. You clear everything, feel relief for a moment, and then the next wave arrives. The problem isn't your discipline, it's the system itself. Your brain evolved to handle a limited number of social interactions in a day, but now a single screen can represent dozens of conversations, expectations, and obligations all at once. And trying to manage every single one perfectly is exhausting. Eventually, something psychologists call inbox fatigue begins to appear. That's when managing messages becomes the work itself. Instead of using email as a tool, the tool starts controlling your attention. So the real solution isn't trying to keep your inbox perfectly empty. It's changing the way your brain interprets those messages. Instead of seeing every unread email as a debt that must be paid immediately, you start treating it as information waiting to be triaged. Some messages need action, some messages can wait, and some messages simply don't deserve your mental energy at all. When you accept that an inbox will naturally overflow in a connected world, the psychological pressure begins to disappear because the goal stops being perfection. The goal becomes clarity. And once your brain realizes that an unread email doesn't automatically equal failure, something interesting happens. The red notification badge loses its power. Your attention returns to the work that actually matters, and the inbox quietly becomes what it was originally meant to be, just a tool, not a source of anxiety.